My name is Marcus Alexander Arbrouet. I was born and raised here in Jackson, Michigan in the Rives Junction area. So I lived there my whole life. I went to Northwest Community Schools and I have one brother. His name is Lucas. We're pretty close in age, and then it's been us four. So me and my brother, and then mom and dad. My dad currently works for True Community Credit Union, and then my mom works for Northwest Community Schools. She is an 8th grade social studies teacher. For as long as I can remember, I've always been pretty involved with music and just kind of the arts in general. I've always wanted to be on some sort of stage or up in front of people, talking, performing, doing something of the sort. So I got involved with music back in elementary school, and then moving into middle school, I joined the band, and I was in band all the way up through my senior year in high school. I was also very heavily involved in sports. I did pretty much everything you can think of, but my main sport was soccer. So I was a big soccer guy from about ages 4 until I graduated. And I just remember, I was playing for YSO and then for travel clubs, and then eventually got to play for the school, and I was really excited about that. Academically, I was always a big reader as a kid. I couldn't put a book down, but kind of as I transitioned into those later years, I found myself leaning more towards kind of like different social topics. So whether it was things we were exploring in history class, things that we were talking about in psychology, I kind of found more of my interest there. Always liked school. I liked having a good, academic rap sheet. I loved the friends that I made there and all the things I was involved in. Being a part of the high school band really kind of defined my high school experience as well. Doing all those different types of things, from marching to pep band at the basketball games and the hockey games, doing our jazz band and our concert band, all of those things. I feel like most of my connections were definitely made through that program, and then through sports as well. Some of those really influential teachers to me, Mr. M, our band director, shout out Mr. M, definitely was one of those guys that kind of taught me what it's like to be myself and to enjoy the things that I enjoy, and how to lead through the things that I enjoy. And then also Mrs. Tanner, Mrs. Bornicek, Mrs. Soper, all my AP teachers, you guys really helped to kind of crescendo my academic experience into what it is now, and to make me the student that I am. I feel like you guys really helped me to become a really effective writer, test taker, to think critically about not just what's on the paper, but how it applies to our real world and what we're actually experiencing. So, big shout out to those guys. So right now I am an incoming 3rd-year student at Central Michigan University. I am double majoring in psychology and social work with a concentration in mental health. I kind of started with psychology just because it was a main academic interest for me. I loved AP Psych in high school. And then I realized that I wanted to help people. And for that, to pursue that, I definitely had to step into the social work world, and they have some great faculty up there at Central for social work. So I really kind of fell in love with that subject, and I'm glad that's what I'm in. Definitely planning on going and getting my master's in social work. Right now I'm just looking at the University of Michigan, and then the University of Chicago as well. After that, very general. I don't have anything too specific in mind, but I definitely want to step into the private practice world at some point. So private practice therapy, working with transitioning youth and maybe the incarcerated population, maybe with couples, doing couples therapy and things like that. I'm definitely interested in pursuing that at some point. Taking a look at the application, I saw kind of what the requirements were, and the writing piece that they had given us was to talk about what does Juneteenth kind of mean to you, and how do you feel it's being reflected in today's society. I'd always kind of known about the topic, but I took some time on my own to just look further into it and really know the history about Juneteenth and what that day means and what happens on that day. And as I was kind of researching, I was finding out Juneteenth was very celebratory, and it was great, but it was 2 years too late. The slaves had already been freed, and it was 2 whole years until troops marched into Galveston, Texas, to let them know that. And so I kind of made that connection to today. Juneteenth was made a federal holiday, I believe, in 2021 by President Biden, and I kind of felt like there are some parallels there, that it's a little bit too late, and it doesn't holistically kind of celebrate all the achievements and the accomplishments that the African American community has made in that time. I mean, so many things can be celebrated on that day, honestly, throughout the whole month of February, but starting from the abolition of slavery into the Jim Crow era, fighting for civil rights, now in this era fighting for social equity and restorative justice and things like that. So I honed in on that, and I talked about kind of how I felt the day was being reflected, and how people feel about it today and what it could be for the community. And then upon receiving the scholarship, I was very excited, of course, and then I was very excited as well to hear that I would be able to come and receive the scholarship in person at the event. And I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I hadn't attended the event before, but as I got there, I got a really strong sense of community from the city of Jackson. I was glad to see that this day meant a lot more to people than I thought it would, and being able to be part of such like a special group of students, a celebrated group of students in the community, and be able to put this kind of like, this front on for the city of like this, people are making strides, and people are working, and people of color at that. And I was really just kind of like taking a moment to take it on in about how much progress this city has made, and what type of things that they're looking to do in the future, and all the people who are supporting that. So it was a really nice experience to be a part of, and to be able to see that community and see how much everybody really cares about about that progress and about that celebration.